This video demonstrates using SnapGrid circuits to explain certain Colorado science standards. For more information on inner city science, please visit innercityscience.org. This video is a demonstration of using SNAP circuits to help you show how a habitat helps complete a circuit. And you can tell your students that you know that the circuit is complete when the red light is on. So we are going to walk through how the abiotic, the non-living factors, and the living factors work together to create an entire living ecosystem. We have created one that's similar to Colorado. You may want to have your students draw the pictures. I drew the pictures for this one. You can see I am not an artist, but I have my abiotic or my non-living factors of being water and rocks. I've gone ahead and put those on there. That's up to your discretion as to whether or not you think your second graders can help you do that. And then for my living factors, I have a rabbit, a fish, tree, flowers, bees, and a bear. And what I'm going to walk my students through is I'm going to say, okay, if I have water, then I know I can have flowers and I can have trees. And I know that if I have flowers and trees, what that means is that I have bugs or bees that are going to help pollinate the trees and the flowers. If I have bugs that are helping to pollinate my trees and my flowers, I can have fish that can eat the bugs, and I can have bunnies that can eat the bugs and the trees and the flowers. And if I have these two, I can have a major predator of a bear. And so now you walk your students through and you say, this is my full ecosystem. I have animals that eat other animals. I have animals that eat the bigger animals. I have things, so I have rocks that my bear can hide in. I have plants and trees that my rabbit can hide in. I have a river that my fish can hide in. And then my bees can feast on my flowers and trees. So you walk them through and you show them my light is on, so this means my ecosystem is healthy. And then what you can talk about is you can talk about, well, what happens if I didn't have the bear? And you can disconnect the bear. So I'm going to disconnect it right here. You see that the light goes out, but what you can do is if you press down right here, you can see that there's a little button. It isn't truly connected anymore, but if you push down, you can show that the ecosystem can still be complete even if I have no major predator. But then what you can talk about is, well, what happens when the bear goes away? Well, then I get too many fish. And if I have too many fish, then they eat all the bees. And I get rid of the bees. And then I can show that if I lose all my bees, then my plants start to die. And then you can see there's no longer any way, and you can show your students there's no longer any way for my circuit to be complete. So when I lose parts of my habitat or lose parts of my ecosystem, I lose the ability to have that clean, healthy ecosystem. And it turns out that I'll lose things. So this video is a demonstration of using the SNAP circuit to show how human impact affects a habitat or an ecosystem. What I have created here, and you can have your students create this or you can have this pre-created, is I've created a little mini food web or a little mini habitat that mimics kind of what you see in Colorado. We have rivers and rocks. When we have rocks, we can have bears that hide in the rocks. When we have rivers, we can have fish and rabbit and bear because they're going to drink that. And also when we have water, we can have flowers and trees. If we have flowers, we need to have bees. And one of the things that we can talk about is bees are kind of a hot topic right now, so you can focus with your students that when the bees die, your flowers die. And you can really emphasize to them that if your plants die, you have no way to complete your circuit. You have no way to a healthy ecosystem. And you can represent that the healthy ecosystem is when that light is on. You can also talk about, though, things like deforestation. So let's put our little bees back in there really quick. And we can talk about that with deforestation. What's happening is we're losing things like our bear because they don't have anywhere to hide, and we're losing things like our rabbit because they don't have anywhere to hide. And then you can talk about that doesn't seem too bad because we still have our light on, but then you can talk about that now we have too many fish, and now with too many fish, now our bees die again, And that means that our trees die again. And you can once again show that even if humans don't directly kill the bees through things like pesticides, they're killing the bees by using just deforestation, which is eliminating their natural predators. And that can be a huge thing to emphasize to your students. So this is a demonstration of how to use the SNAP circuit to help you give 5th grade students a visualization of a food web and why everything kind of works together to create a closed system or a working ecosystem. I recommend having your students create this. We have kind of done one that would exist maybe in Colorado. We have flowers, bees, fish and rabbit is kind of our middle predators, and a bear is our major predator. So we start with producers and then climb our ladder with our consumers. So the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to put in our flowers. We're going to snap those in. Once we have flowers in place, then we have to go with our bees because our bees are what pollinate our flowers. Once we have those, we know that our rabbits and our fish exist. And as you can point out to your students is just by having this, we can have a closed circuit. We can have a happy ecosystem, and you can tell that because we have the light. But one thing that you should emphasize to your students is that if we don't have a major predator to deal with the fish and the rabbit, what can happen is we can get overconsumption of the bees and the flowers. And if we have overconsumption of the bees and the flowers, they die. So what we really need is we really need that major consumer in there. And what we have as our major consumer is a bear. So we have our little bear, and we put him in place. And now you can see we have an even happier ecosystem. And you can explain that the bear eats our fish and our rabbits, which is going to help keep them in check so that our bees stay alive. And if our bees stay alive, then our flowers stay alive. And one thing that you can talk about is that it's important that these two actually pass away and die, because what happens is when animals die and they go into the ground, they become the food for the plants. And that's how we get this really healthy ecosystem and this really healthy food web.